The truth always finds its way to the surface, and this time, it's messier than anyone could have imagined. For months, whispers circled the industry about a secret connection between Tamar Braxton and Mendeecees Harris. The rumors sounded too wild to be true, especially with Yandy Smith standing firm by her man's side. But now Yandy herself has broken her silence, and the bombshell she just dropped has flipped the entire love and hip-hop world upside down. According to insiders, Yandy discovered messages, late-night calls, and secret meets that left her no choice but to confront the betrayal head-on. In true reality TV fashion, the confrontation wasn't quiet. It was explosive. Yandy is reportedly devastated, feeling not only blindsided as a wife, but humiliated as a woman who has always defended her marriage against doubters. Tamar, on the other hand, is facing backlash like never before. Fans are calling her out for allegedly crossing boundaries. And Mendeecees is being dragged for putting his marriage and his family at risk. Social media is in chaos, with hashtag Team Yandy and hashtag Team TAMAR is trending as everyone takes sides. But here's the real question. Was this truly love, lust, or just a dangerous game that went way too far? And more importantly, can Yandy and Mendeecees' marriage survive a scandal this big, or has Tamar shattered it for good? When it comes to love, loyalty, and betrayal, the entertainment world has taught us one thing: secrets never stay buried for long. And this time, the secret that's been unearthed is shaking both fans and insiders to their very core. For months, there have been hushed conversations in industry circles, cryptic social media posts, and suspicious interactions that pointed to something going on behind closed doors between Tamar Braxton and Mendeecees Harris. On the surface, it seemed far-fetched. After all, Tamar is a powerhouse in her own right, carrying a legacy of music and fame, while Mendeecees, despite his rocky past, has always been publicly committed to his wife, Yandy Smith. The couple has weathered countless storms together: prison time, public scrutiny, business struggles, yet their love story always seemed to survive. But now, that image has been shattered, and Yandy herself is the one breaking the silence. It all began with small cracks in the foundation. Servant fans noticed Tamar and Mendeecees getting a little too close during industry events. Lingering conversations, playful banter, and subtle body language that raised eyebrows. At first, people brushed it off as harmless camaraderie between celebrities who move in the same circles. But then came the late-night sightings. Eyewitnesses claimed they saw Tamar and Mendeecees slipping out of exclusive parties together. Their exits staggered by just minutes, yet their destinations suspiciously aligned. Rumors spread like wildfire, but without concrete proof, most dismissed it as just another round of baseless gossip. That was until Yandy herself confirmed the unthinkable. Sources close to her say she's stumbled across messages, direct, undeniable, proof that Tamar and Mendeecees had been in communication behind her back. These weren't casual check-ins or professional exchanges. These were intimate, emotional, and in some cases, flirtatious words that crossed every boundary a married man should honor. For Yandy, the discovery was a gut punch. Imagine being in a marriage where you've endured prison visits, raised children essentially on your own, defended your partner against critics who swore he'd never change Sean, then finding out he may have betrayed you with someone you thought was an ally, or at least a peer who should have respected your union. The confrontation was explosive. According to insiders, Yandy demanded answers from Mendeecees in a heated exchange that left the household in chaos. Tears, raised voices, accusations, nothing was left unsaid. But what really stunned everyone was Yandy's decision not to keep the matter private. For years, she's been the picture of composure, the businesswoman who carefully crafted her image as both a savvy entrepreneur and a devoted wife. Yet this time, she took to social media and essentially confirmed what fans had been whispering all along. In a series of posts and cryptic captions, she hinted at betrayal, lies, and the pain of discovering the truth. Though she didn't name Tamar directly at first, The dots were easy for fans to connect soon. Tamar's name was trending for all the wrong reasons. Tamar, meanwhile, hasn't been able to escape the backlash. Her reputation, already marked by highly publicized relationship drama, has taken yet another hit. Fans who once praised her for her transparency and vulnerability are now calling her out for violating another woman's marriage. Some even went as far as to say she was repeating a cycle, chasing attention and validation in places it didn't belong. Tamar has remained relatively quiet, posting vague messages about protecting her peace and not explaining herself to the world, but silence in the face of such an accusation only fuels speculation. If there was nothing to hide, why not deny it outright? And then there's Mendeecees. The man at the center of it all has been oddly calm, issuing statements that dance around accountability. Instead of denying the alleged affair, he's learned language about making mistakes, being human, and working through struggles. To some, that sounds like an admission. To others, it's a deflection, a way of acknowledging pain without confirming the full scope of what really happened. Either way, it's done little to repair his image. For years, fans had finally started to see him as a man redeemed from his troubled past, thanks largely to Yandy's unwavering support. But now, many believe he's undone all of that progress. In one reckless move, the internet, of course, is having a field day. Memes, reaction videos, and heated debates are flooding timelines. Hashtag Team Yandy. Hashtags dominate, with fans rallying around her as a woman scorned, praising her for speaking her truth instead of suffering in silence. Others are dragging Tamar, accusing her of crossing lines that no sisterhood should allow. And then, in a shocking twist, a small but vocal group is defending Mendeecees, arguing that we don't yet know the full story, that maybe this was more emotional than physical. Or perhaps Yandy and Mendeecees' marriage was already fractured before Tamar entered the picture, regardless of where you stand. One thing is undeniable. Yandy breaking her silence has completely changed the narrative. What was once just a whisper is now a full-blown scandal, threatening to destroy reputations, marriages, and friendships in one devastating blow. But here's where things get even more complicated. Yandy isn't just a wife. She's a brand. She's built her career on resilience, family, and integrity. Every business venture she's touched has leaned on that image of her as a strong, loyal partner. This scandal doesn't just jeopardize her marriage, it risks unraveling her entire empire. And that's why her next move is so critical. Does she forgive Mendeecees' attempt to repair the marriage and risk looking weak in the eyes of her fans, or does she walk away, reclaim her independence, and rebuild her legacy on her own terms? Either way, the world is watching and waiting. As for Tamar, the fallout is just beginning. Her friendships, her standing in the industry, and even her future projects could be affected by the perception that she's meddling in another woman's marriage. In an industry where reputations can be crushed overnight, this scandal may be one of the hardest hurdles she's ever faced. But the real question remains, what happens next? Because if history has taught us anything, scandals like this don't just fade quietly, they explode in ways no one can predict. If Part 1 revealed the shocking discovery, Part 2 dives into the chaos that followed, because when Yandy spoke up, she unleashed a storm no one was ready for. After dropping her cryptic posts about betrayal and disloyalty, Yandy didn't just leave fans guessing. She followed up with a raw, emotional live session that had tens of thousands of people tuned in. In tears, she described what it felt like to stand by a man through years of trials, only to feel abandoned and disrespected in the most public way possible. She didn't name Tamar outright, but when Yandy spoke about a woman who smiles in your face while sneaking behind your back, it was obvious who she was referring to. The internet connected the dots immediately, and Tamar's name exploded across every timeline. The live session was a turning point. Fans who had quietly speculated suddenly had confirmation. This wasn't just gossip, it was coming straight from Yandy's heart. And that changed everything. Suddenly, Tamar's silence became louder than any denial could have been. Her social media was flooded with comments calling her a homewrecker, a backstabber, and accusing her of destroying a family. Tamar, known for clapping back at critics, stayed oddly reserved. She posted a photo of herself with a caption about protecting her peace and not entertaining lies. But fans weren't buying it. If it wasn't true, why not say so? Why not come forward with receipts of her own? Meanwhile, Mendeecees was caught in the middle, laid not in a good way. Instead of firmly denying the allegations, his approach seemed almost detached, as if he wanted to downplay the situation. In one interview, he admitted to making poor decisions but claimed nothing serious happened. That vague statement left more questions than answers. What did he mean by nothing serious? Is there an emotional connection without a physical one? Did he flirt with Tamar but stop? Fans furious, and even worse, it made Yandy look like she was left twisting in the wind while he dodged accountability. Behind the scenes, insiders say the fallout at home was even worse. Yandy reportedly packed up her belongings and left the house temporarily, taking the kids with her. Family members tried to intervene, some urging her to forgive and work it out for the sake of the children, while others told her to walk away completely. The tension spilled into business to joint projects that Yandy and Mendeecees had been working on suddenly came to a halt, with brands quietly distancing themselves from the scandal until the dust settled. But Tamar wasn't just sitting back. Though she remained quiet on the surface, reports say she confided in close friends and denied any wrongdoing, according to these alleged private conversations. Tamar insisted that she and Mendeecees were nothing more than friends who got caught up in messy rumors. She claimed Yandy had misinterpreted what she saw, and that the so-called evidence wasn't as damning as fans believed. Still, Tamar couldn't control the narrative the way she wanted to because every time she tried to defend herself, screenshots and stories kept popping up online. One of the most damning moments came when a gossip blog released alleged text messages between Mendeecees and Tamar. While some fans questioned their authenticity, others believed them instantly. The texts showed late-night conversations, playful emojis, and even plans to meet up in secret. Whether real or fake, the leak poured gasoline on an already raging fire. Tamar's name trended for days, and the hashtags #TeamYandy and #CancelTamar flooded social media. Yandy, for her part, stayed composed in public but was clearly hurting. She posted pictures of herself with her children, captioning them with words about strength, loyalty, and moving forward. Fans praised her for taking the high road, but even then, the pain was visible. Her supporters argued that no woman should have to endure such public humiliation, especially after years of defending her marriage. Others warned her not to forgive too quickly, pointing out that Mendeecees had already shown a pattern of questionable behavior in the past. The scandal also sparked heated debates across the entertainment industry. Some celebrities quietly took sides, with a few showing support for Yandy through comments and likes, while others stayed neutral, not wanting to get dragged into the drama. Tamar's camp felt isolated, with fewer people willing to publicly defend her. Industry insiders whispered that this could affect her future collaborations, because nobody wants to be associated with scandal when brand deals and reputations are on the line. And then there's Mendeecees' role as a husband and father. Fans reminded him that Yandy had stood by him during his prison sentence, raising the kids and holding down the family business. To betray her now, whether physically or emotionally, felt like the ultimate slap in the face. The backlash against him wasn't just about the affair rumors, it was about loyalty, gratitude, and respect. Even men who usually defend questionable behavior found themselves saying, "Nah, this one's too much." But if the world was against Tamar and Mendeecees, some fans began questioning Yandy too. Was she revealing too much? Was she trying to weaponize social media instead of handling her marriage privately? Those critics argued that going live and dropping hints only escalated the drama. Yet Yandy supporters clapped back, insisting that silence only enables betrayal. And her speaking out was a way of reclaiming her power. What made this scandal even more gripping was the timing. Yandy and Mendeecees had recently been trying to relaunch their image as a strong, united couple, even planning new ventures together. Tamar, on the other hand, was working on rebuilding her career after years of public ups and downs. For this alleged affair to explode now meant that all three of them had their reputations and their futures on the line. By the end of the second wave of fallout, one thing was clear: this wasn't going away anytime soon. Too many people had seen too much. Between leaked texts, cryptic posts, and emotional lives, the pieces of the puzzle pointed towards something deeper than just rumors. Whether Yandy and Mendeecees could recover, or Tamar could repair her image, remained to be seen. But one thing was certain: the world was watching every move, waiting for the next explosive reveal. And as insiders hinted, the real drama hadn't even started yet. Because while the internet argued over whether this was emotional cheating, physical betrayal, or just messy rumors, Yandy was quietly preparing her next move, and it would be one no one expected. If part 2 was about the fallout, part 3 is about the aftermath, the shocking moves, the unexpected revelations, and how this scandal reshaped the lives of Yandy Tamar Mendeecees forever. When Yandy hinted that she had more to say, fans assumed she would post another emotional live or a cryptic message. But she surprised everyone with something much bigger. Yandy agreed to sit down for a tell-all interview, one that was filmed in a studio setting. Raw, unfiltered, and ready to address the rumors head-on. Clips from the taping leaked before the full episode dropped. And what Yandy said had the internet in a frenzy. For the first time, she confirmed that she had seen undeniable proof of inappropriate behavior between Mendeecees and Tamar. She didn't call it an affair outright, but she said there were lines crossed that no married man should ever cross. She described how the betrayal felt like death by 1,000 cuts, not one single act, but a series of small lies, late-night conversations, and suspicious behavior that left her questioning everything. The pain in her voice was undeniable, and fans immediately rallied behind her. But the real bombshell was what came next. Yandy revealed that she was considering separation, not because she stopped loving Mendeecees, but because she could no longer tolerate the disrespect. "Love is not the same as loyalty," she said. "And if a man can't respect the vows he made, then what are we even doing?" Those words hit like a dagger, and social media erupted. Was this the end of Yandy and Mendeecees? Could their decade-long relationship really be over because of Tamar? Meanwhile, Tamar was finally forced to break her silence. Days after Yandy's tell-all dropped, Tamar took to Instagram Live, her voice shaking as she addressed the accusations. She denied having an affair with Mendeecees, claiming the rumors were twisted lies spread by people who wanted to see her fail. She insisted that she respected Yandy and would never do that to another woman, but the internet wasn't convinced. Viewers noticed that she dodged certain questions, giving vague responses that only added fuel to the fire. At one point, Tamar even broke down in tears, saying she was tired of being painted as the villain. But for many, the damage was already done as the drama unfolded online. Insiders close to the situation whispered that Tamar's personal relationships were also taking a hit. Friends and collaborators reportedly distanced themselves, worried about being caught up in the backlash. Some even suggested Tamar lost potential deals because brands didn't want to be linked to the scandal. It seemed like no matter what she said, the shadow of the alleged affair wouldn't leave her. And then there was Mendeecees, the man at the center of it all. Instead of taking control of the narrative, he seemed to retreat further, avoiding interviews and choosing only to speak through vague social media posts. One particularly controversial post read, "Sometimes people see what they want to see. Not everything is what it looks like." Fans immediately called him out for gaslighting, accusing him of trying to downplay the pain he had caused. Others said he was dodging accountability yet again, hiding behind spiritual quotes instead of being honest. The scandal reached a breaking point when Yandy made her boldest move yet. She filed official separation papers, not a full divorce, but a legal separation that allowed her to protect her assets and make it clear she was no longer willing to tolerate betrayal. The news hit headlines instantly, shocking fans who thought she might ultimately forgive and move forward. By taking that step, Yandy showed the world that she wasn't just talking, she was ready to take action. Supporters flooded her with love, calling her an inspiration and praising her strength. Others pointed out how heartbreaking it was to see a woman who had built so much with her husband reach this point. Tamar, on the other hand, faced even harsher criticism. Memes spread online calling her a homewrecker, while others speculated that she was secretly in love with Mendeecees all along. Tamar clapped back, insisting she was being unfairly targeted. But the backlash was relentless. Yet even with all this chaos, not everyone believed the story was so simple. Some fans questioned whether Tamar was really guilty or if Mendeecees had exaggerated their friendship to cover up other behavior. Others wondered if Yandy was being manipulated by outsiders who wanted to break up her marriage. Theories swirled endlessly, with every new piece of information dissected on blogs, podcasts, and YouTube channels. In the end, one thing became clear. The scandal had permanently altered the dynamics between all three. Yandy emerged as a woman, reclaiming her voice. Tamar was left fighting for her reputation, and Mendeecees was exposed as a... What made the story so powerful wasn't just the betrayal itself, but what it represented. Yandy had stood by Mendeecees through prison, through financial struggles, through everything. For her to now face betrayal at the hands of someone she considered a friend made fans feel the sting on her behalf. It wasn't just about infidelity, it was about trust, loyalty, and the cost of forgiveness. As the dust began to settle, fans were left asking, where do they go from here? Will Yandy and Mendeecees reconcile for the sake of their family? Or will this mark the beginning of a permanent split? Can Tamar ever repair her image? Or will this scandal follow her forever? And perhaps most importantly, what lesson will the hip-hop world take from watching one of its most admired couples fall apart so publicly? Because one thing is undeniable. Once trust is broken, it's almost impossible to put the pieces back together. And in the case of Yandy, Tamar, and Mendeecees, those shattered pieces are still scattered across the internet, serving as a reminder that even the strongest love stories can unravel when secrets come to light. And there you have it, the truth is out. The silence is broken, and the fallout from Tamar and Mendeecees' secret connection has left Yandy standing at a crossroads. From whispers and speculation to shocking confirmations and public separation papers, this scandal has shaken the love and hip-hop world to its very core. But the real question is, what happens now? Will Yandy walk away for good? Or will Mendeecees somehow convince her to rebuild what's been broken? And where does Tamar go from here? Can she'll repair her reputation? Or will this scandal haunt her forever? I want to hear what you think. Was Yandy right to finally speak her truth? Or should she have handled it privately? Do you believe Tamar's denials? Or are the receipts just too strong to ignore? And do you think Mendeecees is hiding even more than what we've seen so far? Drop your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comments below. Because this conversation is far from over. While you're here, don't forget to hit like, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next update. It's because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that this story is still developing and the next twist could drop at any moment. One thing's for sure, love, loyalty, and betrayal have never been more explosive. Stay tuned, because the drama is only just beginning.